We're holding in the second halacha in Siman Tafresh Ayin in the Mishna Brura. He explains that on the Beit Sheni, at that time the Yevanim started harassing the Jews in very, very terrible ways, and they not only harassed the Jews, they stole their money, they harassed their daughters, and they were under much stress because of that. Eventually, the Hashmonaim stood against them, fought them, and were victorious. Because of that, we celebrate the days of Chanukah. The way we celebrate them is, says the Shulchan Aruch, ריבוי הסעודות שמרבים בהם הם סעודות הרשות שלא קבעום למשתה ולשמחה. As we explained in the previous year, that the days of Chanukah are made להלל ולשבח, to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not necessarily to have parties as we do on Purim, not necessarily to have a Seudah, although the Mishnah Brura brings down, as the Rama says, that יש קצת מצווה בריבוי הסעודות. There is an עניין to do some Seudot. Why? משום שבאותם הימים היה חנוכת המזבח. There's two things that happen on Chanukah, says the Rama. First, the victory of the Hashmonaim and the miracle of the Pach HaShemen. But secondly, Chanukat HaMizbech, at the time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked the Jews to build the Mishkan, they finished building the Mishkan on Chanukah, but he had to delay it for later time to actually start working in the Mishkan. But he wanted to repay the month of Kislev for that celebration, and therefore he waited for Chanukah at the time of the Hashmonaim. Because of that, נוהגים לומר זמירות ותשבחות בסעודות שמרבים בהם, ואז זה בסעודת מצווה. It is made into סעודת מצווה on Chanukah if a person either says Torah on the table in that סעודה, or he says זמירות ותשבחות. That's why in many places they start singing all kind of Chanukah songs when they eat. They make that into סעודה. The Mishnah Brura explains that it's a combination of two things, that each would not have enough to make it into Seudat Mitzvah, but both together make it into a Seudat Mitzvah. First of all, the celebration of the day, Chanukah. Secondly, the Torah, Zmirot v'Tishbachot. Each one by itself would not make it into a Seudat Mitzvah, but both together is a combination that does make it into a Seudat Mitzvah, and therefore it's important that one should utilize that in such a way and make it into Seudat Mitzvah. Secondly, says the Rama, ישנו אומרים שיש לאכול גבינה בחנוכה, לפי שהנס נעשה בחלב שהכילה יהודית את האויב. Yehudit was the daughter of the Hashmonai, and at the time the decree was that whenever a Jewish girl would get married, first she had to go with the leader of the Yevanim. Imagine? So the one that stood against it was Yehudit. How did she fight against it? She was supposed to get married, and at the time of the day of her marriage, as the rule and the law is, she had to go with the leader of the Yevanim, the Tafsar. She went to him and she fed him a lot of cheese. Cheese at the time used to get a person a little drunk, and once he got drunk, she killed him. With that, the decree has stopped because it was a rebel of the Jews, and the Greeks could not stand to it. And once they started fighting, the Jews won over and were able to bring back the kingdom Malchut Bet Hashmonai, which was for 200 years until the destruction of Bet HaMikdash.